Hey guys, it's Bubbly. Welcome back to the channel, and today's speed build is a sort of a take on a tiny house. I'm calling this speed build the Cozy Single Row House. When I first started the build, I was thinking about attempting to do a tiny house. I did get some inspiration from one of the fabulous people in a Sims group that I belong to who posted some inspiration for building, and it was a set of interiors of tiny homes, pictures of interiors of tiny homes, and I thought, oh, that'll be fun to try to build. So I took a shot at it, and I don't think I quite made a tiny house. It is very small, but I wouldn't say it's a tiny house. So we're gonna go with this is a single row house. So it's quite cute. I really like how it turned out. It's really the perfect size for a single sim or a couple. I kind of imagined like an older couple, maybe a couple that's a divorced couple, man and woman, or man and man, woman and woman, whoever you love, got together maybe later on in life, and they, had already done the marriage thing, family thing, had big houses and all of that, and they just wanted a more simplistic life, and they were restarting together. I was imagining maybe like in their late 50s or 60s, and they didn't want to have a huge house. They didn't want a whole lot of land to take care of, so they decided to move into a smaller home, and this is what I imagined they would be living in. So this house I built in Newcrest, and it's on a 20 by 15 lot, so it's fairly small, but there is room to expand. So if you decide to download this house and you have a single sim living in it or a couple living in it, if your family does grow, there is room on this lot to expand the house. There is a large side yard that I added that you could definitely use up some of that space, and there is a lot of space at the back of the house that I did not put anything back there. There are some plants and bushes and stuff like that, but there is plenty of room. If you did need to expand this house, it would be pretty easy to bump out some of the walls and add some extra rooms to it. So, like I was saying, this was built in Newcrest on the Comfy Cubby Lot 20 by 15, and it is just over 46,000 simoleons. So it's not a starter home price, but it's definitely a budget friendly price for a house. So if you have a sim who has started out already in a starter home and is looking for a bit of an upgrade, this would be a good house for that. Or your sims who have already been established and they're looking to downgrade, this would also be good for that. So yeah, I really liked how it turned out. It was pretty cute. I did have a bit of it took me a couple of minutes to figure out how to lay things out within the house, because it was such a tight space, and there really isn't like a large, or not a large anything in this house, but there's really not like a living space in this house. So I had to be a bit creative with how I was laying out the kitchen and the dining area, and trying to figure out how am I going to get some form of seating in this really tight, cramped space. I did manage to get one chair in there, just one chair. I couldn't really quite figure out how to put a love seat or maybe two chairs in there, so there is only the one spot, but there are the dining chairs, so your sims can definitely sit there and chat. You can actually move one of those chairs around to the end of the dining table if you choose, or maybe even put a different shaped table in there. You might be able to get a third chair in there more easily, possibly even a fourth chair if you needed to. I didn't imagine that you would need that many dining spaces in a house this small. I wouldn't imagine that if you lived in a house this small that you would be throwing, huge dinner parties at home. But there is quite a bit of space in the side yard, so if you did have people over, there is more seating out there, so that could definitely work. So this house only has one bedroom. It is on the lower level. I did put a double bed in the bedroom. I really like how the bedroom turned out. It's super cute. I really like the colors. The dresser that I put in there, that kind of retro looking dresser, and then using those shelves that came with the laundry day pack just above it. I really love the stuff that came in that laundry day pack. It works in so many different types of builds, and it just kind of takes everything to a whole different level. I love those items. So I think that putting those shelves in there definitely pulled that room together and made it feel quite homey, which was kind of the feel that I was going for. I wanted this build to feel homey, but I also wanted it to feel like it had been maybe updated or upgraded a bit. It wasn't just like a basic, house that somebody moved into that didn't have any updates to it, or anything like that. So it's kind of going for a more updated, more current feel in this home, rather than the basic items that you would put in a more of a starter home. So initially I was going to attempt to put a second bedroom in this house on the second level, but I just didn't really think it was going to work out so well, because the bathroom was going to be up there, and I didn't want to make it too tight. I wanted this house to be quite playable and livable for your Sims. So while I wanted it to be a small house, I didn't want it to be so small that you really couldn't play in it. So I decided not to put the second bedroom upstairs and just use that space as the bathroom, and then there's like a study area up there as well, and a walk-in closet. I really love making walk-in closets. I know they're not functional, but I just love how they look. I think it's super cute. So yes, that is up there as well. Now with the little study area that's up there, I used the bookshelves that came with the fitness stuff pack, the angled ones, and I sized them down and I placed it on top of the desk to make it look like it was a built-in, and then I put a picture in between those two pieces, and I thought that came out really cute. I really liked how that turned out. So it looks like maybe a more expensive piece of furniture that you purchased for your home, rather than just having a bookshelf and a desk in that area. So I thought that turned out quite cute. The bathroom, this is the first time I actually used those tiles that came with the Jungle Adventures pack. I've really been wanting to use those, but I've been kind of like afraid because they're so busy, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. So every time I put them up, I usually will put them up and I'll leave them for a bit, and then I'm like, no, it's too much, and I take them down. But I think with this particular build, it worked out pretty well because it's a smaller house, it's a smaller space. So I think for me, in my opinion, in smaller spaces, those more busy patterns work better than if you had like a larger room and then you were throwing up a really busy pattern on the walls. It might be a bit overbearing. So I think in the smaller space, it worked out pretty well. So I was quite happy with that. Now, in the kitchen, I did, once I got to the point of taking the screenshots, I realized that I forgot to put a stove in the kitchen. So I did have to go back in and change the layout of the kitchen just a little bit off camera. So if you download this house, the kitchen will be slightly different. What I did was the counter that's next to the sink, I removed that and I put the stove there. I slid the trash can that's next to the refrigerator back over to the side of the sink, and then I put one of the end pieces for the counter next to the refrigerator, put the coffee pot on top of that, and there you go. Solved that problem. I couldn't believe that I actually forgot to put a stove in the kitchen, and I even play tested the house. That's the crazy thing. But I realized after, when I got to the point of the screenshots, and I'm like, how did I not realize that there was no stove? It was because my sim, while I did have her test out the kitchen, I asked her to cook something and she made a salad. And I was like, cool, the kitchen works. She made a salad. Awesome. Hello, kind of need a stove. So yes, I did get the stove put in, and I did play test it. It does work. So that will be in the build if you decide to download it. So I will have a link in the description below with the download if you want to get this for your game right now. If you want it right now, go ahead and click down below in the description. You will find a link there, as well as links to my Twitter and my Instagram. If you guys want to follow me there, I post pictures and updates of builds that I'm currently working on. So you can keep ahead of what I'm doing and be the first in the know of the next builds that will be released. So if you want to follow me there, check the links down below. And also, shoot me a message on Twitter. Say, hey, shoot out some ideas, or just, let me know how you're doing. I love to hear from you guys. Always love to hear from you guys. So if you guys ever actually thought about living in a tiny home, I used to watch HGTV all the time, and there was a show, I don't remember what it was called, but there was this guy, it wasn't just one guy, there was always different people, but they were building their own tiny homes, and it was like this amazing journey that they would go on. And when they started out, they'd be super excited and going ahead at full steam, and most of the time these people had no idea about building anything. They weren't builders. They just decided they wanted to do this. They wanted to change their lives and declutter and downgrade, and so they're going to build these tiny homes. And it was extremely difficult, but once they were done, they were super adorable and cute. Or the shows where people are just actually house hunting for tiny homes. They are so freaking cute. I look at them and I want to be in it. I want to find a tiny home and I want to be in it. But I don't know if I could actually live in it. So do you guys think you could live in a tiny home? Is anyone have any experience with a tiny home? Have you lived in one? Do you know someone who lives in one now or has lived in one in the past? Or are you on the verge of moving into a tiny home? Comment down below and let me know what experiences you guys have with tiny homes. I would be so interested in hearing some tiny home stories, because I know no one who has experienced one, and I've never actually seen one in person, but I would really love to. But I think before I actually, give up where I live now and get rid of some of my stuff and pack up and move into a tiny home, maybe I should take a step first of spending a vacation in a tiny home, maybe going there for a weekend or maybe a week and testing it out and seeing how it is before I give up where I currently live and just say I'm living in a tiny home. Maybe I should experience it first. So what kind of things do you think you would have to give up? Because I don't think you could bring everything that you have in a normal sized home or apartment or townhouse or whatever type of home you're living in. You would have to give up some things in order to make living in a tiny home work. So what are the necessities of life that you would absolutely have to have, and what would you give up? those are the things that I would have such a struggle trying to figure out. What am I going to leave behind? What am I going to give up? I don't know. I'm a bit of a pack rat, like just a little bit, not too bad, just a little bit. I hold on to things way too long for sentimental reasons. So what do you guys think? What things would you be willing to give up to live in a tiny home? That's a tough one. That's really a tough one. I don't know what I would be willing to give up. Very interesting, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. So comment down below and let me know your thoughts on tiny home living. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more tiny builds or a smaller build than this, give me a thumbs up and comment down below your suggestions. And as always, guys, thanks so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.